Hey guys, welcome back with a new video, and this time I'm doing my first this is probably my first, I'm not sure. One of my first formal video reviews of an action figure, and why not start with my now new favorite figures of all time, the Return to New York TMNT Mirage 4-pack from NECA Figures. Um I gotta say, these figures are 99 out of 10. Like before when I decided to get these, I was like, all right, I hadn't gotten any new turtle stuff, and now that I finally have the downtime to get back into collecting, I figured, why not, get something cool. And I was looking around Target looking for 2003 figures, IDW figures, couldn't find them. So I figured, how about I got the money, so how about I go on eBay, find this set of turtles, and you know came across these and found them for a pretty good price, and was like, why not pick these up, right? You know, I'm probably not going to be too interested in them. And, you know, and I and I waited several days for these. Oh, sorry, I had to go turn down the TV. So I waited several days for these, and the figures kept getting delayed in the mail. They kept getting missent to this and that place, and it was really starting to piss me off. And I remember I just spent all day like sleeping, just waiting for these things to show up at the door. So finally, I got them. Which, funny enough, this was the exact same thing that happened the last time I got a set of Mirage Turtles figures from NECA, which was pretty cool. And a weird twisted fate, though I think the last time I got them, it was the day before Valentine's Day and not the day of Valentine's Day. So, yeah, who knows? Maybe they intentionally did this as like some sort of Valentine's Day gift. If so, uh, don't know how to feel about it. Appreciate it, don't appreciate it. At least my figures got here, even though it was several days late. So, anyways, getting off of that, um, yeah, I I don't know where to begin with these. Like the articulation is phenomenal. The, the like, oh gosh, like I don't really know like how to start like gushing about these without making it sound like my final thoughts for the review. So I guess how we're gonna start is I don't even know which one to pick to show off like the articulation or like the weapons. You know what? Let's do Donatello here. Now, all right, so you can see like the figures have like a lot of cross hatching here, which one thing that I definitely noticed with these figures and love about these figures over some of the older NECA figures, particularly like the old like NECA Mirage figures, the old ones from 2008, was with those original like Mirage figures. Oftentimes, if you ever seen pictures of like the official figures, like the black and white figures, even some of the color edition figures, you would notice that like they would come with like little weird stuff, like Michelangelo's head sculpt would come with like Leonardo or Raphael's eyes, or sometimes like you'd see like one of the turtles with like the wrong hand, or even stuff like the bandanas were like placed really weirdly on them, or like sometimes they two of the turtles would end up with the same head sculpt. That isn't the case here. That isn't the case here. These figures, like, if you like pay attention, like look closely at like all four of the turtles here, you see that they all have their own individual like cross hatching and scratches on the front of their shells, and probably on the legs too, but probably not. Um, let me move his arm here so you can see, like, yeah, oh, man. Like all like individual like scratches and cuts and bruises and all that, right? So they also made the knee pads and elbow pads and belts out of like a softer plastic, much similar to like what they done with like the 1990 movie figures and the last Ronin figure. So that way this wouldn't hinder the articulation much, which is amazing. Love that they did that. Also, this time around, I think this is the first time, aside from the 1990 movie figures and the last Ronin figures, these figures, there are some Turtles figures that are actually somewhat capable of doing an ab crunch, which is something that I had to end up getting the bootlegs or like the knockoffs. So, you know, ab crunch was completely absent from my copy of the original Mirage figures. So, you know, yeah, which here it has like a diaphragm joint. And with here, I don't know if you could like look in there and see it. I'm using my phone to record this. So one thing that I absolutely do love though is that I believe that they're using some sort of dumbbell joint similar to like what they're using with the head articulation and the what Super 7 uses with their figure, I think. I'm not sure. They use a dumbbell joint so that way like some sort of ball joint in the waist here, so that way I don't think it. I'll just say is like it feels like it's not going to break. It doesn't feel like it's something that like I can be moving this around and it's going to snap, which I also love. They also kind of put ratchet joints in a lot of like the, and I think with some of the elbow joints and the knee joints, so that way, you know, they wouldn't twist. They also have like some interchangeable like mask pieces here. I don't want to, again, like while I do feel like these figures are durable and they're not likely to break on me, I do not feel like risking wearing down the plastic on these, so they will always be displayed or played with these bandana tails in. Move back, Leo. Also, I've heard some people have an issue with like how the shells are kind of flat, but with like later issues and later, you know, like artists, this is also like kind of how the shells are like sort of presented. Also with turtles, you know, turtles tend to have flatter shells where tortoises or even some species of box turtles have like more rounded, like thicker, heavier shells. So I feel like this is a little more accurate. Plus the turtles, like depending on like how they pose or what kind of positions they're standing in, they can't really stand up all that well. So yeah, and I don't know why either. Probably because of like, I don't know. You would think the feet would be heavy enough to, you know, keep them balanced and stuff. Well, I guess now on video he's standing up, so, you know, that's good. Also, the weapons feel like not like Super 7 sturdy plastic, but like sturdy enough plastic to where I feel like if, you know, if this drops off the shelf at any point, like it isn't going to break. More so like the last Ronin type of plastic. Also, some people will notice when you get your figures that the bicep swivels will be somewhat fused, or like maybe not fused but stuck or like too tight. And the thing is, what you want to do with that is get some hot water, get some heat, apply it to it, and twist it around. Just make sure to twist it to the right and left. Twist it to the right and left, right? And which is another thing that I love about this, that they've made a huge upgrade from other figures, right? Is they finally like fixed all that stuff, because with like past versions of like NECA turtles with bicep swivels, they've put them on like these very thin little pegs, or these thin little like rails in the bicep that would they would break so easily, and it was just so frustrating and disappointing. And they finally done away with that with these figures. Yeah. They're also, I don't know if I would consider this a complaint, because I guess this was a thing in the original comics. They seem a bit tall. They stand about the same height as the Super 7 figures, which I guess we can now start the comparison time. Here he is standing next to the Super 7 Raphael figure, which they stand about the same height, if not he's like slightly shorter. Yeah, I'm recording this on my phone and I don't have a tripod, so here he is standing next to Super 7 Ultimates Shredder. As you'll notice, 99% of my collection is Super 7 Ultimates. So, let's see here. Let me back this up. Here he is standing next to the let me get this guy in a pose so that he can stand up here. Here he is standing next to the NECA Battle Damage Shredder, which I was lucky enough to find in Walmart. One thing that was definitely putting me on the fence about even getting any of these figures was I was worried that I wouldn't be able to find any villains or any other figures to go with them. And when I was just strolling around in Walmart one day, I was lucky enough to see this guy in there, picked them up, and was like, all right, now I have a reason to get these turtles. And, now I finally have somebody to go with my Eastman and Laird, issue 1 through 2. I don't know. The turtles like designs sort of changed a little bit within later issues, or within the earlier issues after issue 1. So yeah, he also scales pretty good, because with some of the other YouTube videos I've seen, it does make the turtles look a lot bigger than the Shredder, or at least like it looks like half the time like the turtles dwarf him a bit. But no, here he is standing next to Super 7 Splinter, which I prefer this Splinter over the other one, because one, I don't really feel the need to display the new Mirage Splinter with these figures. Plus this guy seems to better fit in scale with how he actually was sized in the comics, whereas with that other Splinter they had with NECA, he seems even a little small for the even for the issue 1 turtles, which I'll get to them in a bit. Here he is standing next to Casey Jones. Now, I had seen the Casey Jones figure in Target, but I decided not to get him because, one, I didn't really like some of the sculpting work on him, and plus, like, he was still on some of these, he reused some of these, like, bicep and joints and, like, some of these arm joints, and didn't have all the equipment and weapons that I liked him to. So I was like, you know what, I'm not going to waste the money and might as well keep this one since this figure already has everything I want and need with it. So, you know, wasn't going to do that. Here he is standing next to another Super 7 Ultimates figure, Super 7 Ultimates April O'Neil. That scale is nice, pretty accurate. And here he is standing next to issue 1 Eastman and Laird Michelangelo. And you could see some of the size difference there and like some of the improvements. Yeah, with this ring light, you can definitely see some of the blue tint in the muscles and some of like the areas and like even some of the skin detailing that they put in with these figures was just amazing. So yeah, there's also something else that I wanted to point out with these figures as well, and that is something with the weapons. Now, I did make a video about this that I will upload shortly, but with some of the weapons on here, they've definitely like fixed an issue. Well, maybe not an issue, but I guess something that like people have noticed and they kind of just didn't like much with like some of the like older figures. That paint peeling off? No. Is the swords fit a lot more snug in here. They fit more tightly in here. Plus they don't really fall out when he's like upside down or when you like move around. So these figures definitely have some playability to them. Also, they're kind of durable too. So like they're not like as paper thin like the original like Mirage Leonardo swords, which the first time around I got them when I got the red mat. I originally gotten the multicolored mask ones, which my grandma accidentally got me, and so with those figures, yeah. Well, with those figures, that was on me. I was a dumb kid. I think I was in like the 8th grade. I was like a kid when I got those figures. And what happened was I was trying to like make the sword scabbard like this. So like they would fit more snugly with inside his scabbard. And I fell asleep and the swords accidentally got glued in there. I was trying to take them out and they broke off, which, that was on me for being a stupid kid. So, yeah, that hasn't really happened with any of the other figures. Also, another size comparison that I needed to do, probably the most important size comparison that I should have done, was with let me go and get him. Should have had him ready when I got out here. Yes. Probably well, maybe not the tallest Turtles figure I have, but whew, these joints are nice and tight, but not fragile. That is so good. The Last Ronin. The Last Ronin right there. So, yeah, that was should have probably done that when I started the video when I was doing size comparisons, but there's just so much to talk about here. Um, yeah, like since I got these figures, I'd also been like binge reading the comics. I had just finished Volume 2, and I am now on Urban Legends. Definitely, you guys definitely got to check out like the entirety of the Turtles comics, especially some of the guest era stuff. Uh, I don't know what else to go on about. I'll probably make a part two to this if there's something that I feel like I've forgotten. Uh, yeah. Anyways, that's my review for the day, guys. Cowabunga.